Okay, I think I can finally get started on this. Alright, it's October 28th at 3:33. I don't know why I keep mentioning the time, but I don't know. I guess it's just the way to keep track. Kind of looks like the camera's crooked, but today I'm going to get to the slime and trying to finish up the canister. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm doing about fixing it up. I'm going to be adding hot glue to it to seal it so that way it can actually hold it. I'm going to make the actual slime. I was originally going to do that I was originally going to do the slime inside, but things are a little... they're watching Twilight. You know, my sisters, so I don't exactly want that in the background as I'm talking over here and there. I mean, you can already get some music from the construction workers that are currently working on somebody's house in the neighborhood, but I just didn't want something that's a little harder to filter out. Either way, I'm going to be trying to get that done as quickly as possible, realizing that Halloween is coming up pretty damn quick. I'm going to try to see if maybe I can get started on the Canon. I did not have time to work on the LEDs for the grenade, or ghost grenade, whatever you want to call it. But everything has been spray painted. And because I did a method with clear enamel, although the finish does not look like realistic metal, it looks like polished metal, I can still work with it. So I think I can more or less get that done, possibly off camera. It's probably going to be off camera, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I can at least show you guys what that looks like, and then what the ideas or concepts are. Wow, that's a loud airplane. Oh, sorry, helicopter. Okay, I think it moved over. More or less. And also a screen. Okay. Point is, I'll try to see what I can show about that grenade and get done, and you know, hopefully you guys can take some tips or something. Okay, let's get this shit going, because I don't want to waste too much time right now. Okay. Alright, supplies wise, the best idea is probably to get started with sealing the canister first. These are the parts that I've currently got going for it. I've already spray painted this, but oddly enough, I actually used acrylic paint to cover the top of this. This is a cheap one. I think it was called S.P.O.O.K.S was the brand. I used it to cover the entire thing. It took a lot of layers, but as you can see, it actually is not too bad of a finish. I even touched up the bottom of this, and surprisingly, it's relatively comparable to the spray paint with the clear enamel on here. So that's actually kind of an interesting note. Now, altogether, this actually looks pretty good, but I already have some foam bits I had pre-cut out a few days ago that are going to go around certain portions of it, just to kind of give it more of a vial canister look. If I have some time, I want to put an LED right here that's going to be covered in some hot glue to keep it from, you know, getting soaked in the slime. That will shoot light downward into this and hopefully give it a very bright, vibrant look and kind of add to the costume a little bit. It's not necessary, but I just feel like it would make it look better. Now, as for the recipe for the slime, let me see if I can get a good camera angle here. This is the one from the King of Random. I took notes on this a few days ago, but basically the ingredients are mainly just water, borax, and clear Elmer's glue, along with some food coloring. I already got these materials a few days ago. Got borax, which is the one thing I really didn't have. This one I bought for a props class a while ago. Sadly, I never got to use it because there was no point in using it. And then finally, of course, I got some food coloring, neon specifically, because I have a feeling the pink is going to show up better if I use that instead of any other color. Now, of course, probably just get started with it. Of course, you're going to need a container. I know it says that this thing is food safe, but obviously I would get in big trouble if I decided to use something that we use for food. So these are from the Dollar Tree that I bought a long while ago when I was mixing some other stuff. I'm like 90% certain it was epoxy, but I managed to clear it out a long time ago. I gave it a quick wash just to make sure. It's not like I'm going to be eating this stuff, but you know, I just want to cover my bases. And the first thing it says that you're supposed to do is mix a cup of water with a teaspoon of borax. Sadly, what did leak in that container was some of the epoxy resins that I have in the same place I keep these and this, and the only one that got touched were every other one except for a quarter teaspoon. So I just am gonna have to measure it out twice on this thing. Luckily, it doesn't look like that's gonna be a big deal, because I mean, it's a quarter teaspoon and it's asked for a half, so I mean, you can do the math. It's pretty simple. You just take one, two, and you're done. I'm actually surprised you only use so little of that, but I mean, it's not like I know the science behind this. It says in another bowl. In this case, I'm literally just going to use this in another container to hold it in. And it looks like I need another half cup of water, so I'm going to have to go get that right now. I suppose for the moment, I should probably mix it. So, beef steak. And it says to mix until it's been dissolved. Sorry if I got a lot of shit in the way, but I'm trying to keep everything as condensed as possible, just so that way I have easy access to it. It's looking pretty good, actually. Well, the water should be hotter. I'll just leave it in the sun for now until I'm ready for it. I'm gonna come back with some water in this, and it should be good. Okay, sorry for the camera tilt. Got back some water. It says mix together a half a cup of water and 5 ounces of clear Elmer's glue. Lucky I have this whole damn container to use, although it probably would have been a lot easier if I had used something a little more smaller. But I probably should have used one of those 5-ounce bottles. It probably would have been a lot easier, like it was in the video. But it's not like I got a choice right now, so. I mean, it's not like I can't buy another bottle. I could if I wanted to, but it's just a lot easier just to pour some out from this thing and just be done with it. Okay. That's a little more than 5 ounces. Not what I was hoping for. Maybe I could pour a little back. Yeah, that's 5. Okay. Says you're supposed to mix those two together. And food coloring. So let me just, you know, it's a lot easier if I just pour it in here. Alright, now in the original recipe it said that you're supposed to use 2 drops of green and 5 drops of yellow. I'm not making Ninja Turtle ooze, so instead I am making like a hot pink, something close to the movie. Again, I've only seen pictures, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball this and try to figure it out from there. If they did get the color they did with, technically speaking, altogether 7 drops, then I think maybe 5 of these should be enough, but we'll see. Yeah, let's just do it. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot you're supposed to take off this. That is a bright color. Seen that? Yeah, I don't know if it focused in on that, but hot damn. This stuff is hefty. Can't tell how fluorescent that actually is going to be once it gets on there, but we'll see. I might add some green to it just to give it a slightly different color, but we'll see. I know this has the borax solution in it, but I mean, they're all going to go in the same place at some point, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, that is insanely bright by comparison. Not ideal. Yeah, we'll add a hint of green. If I had some yellow, that might be a better idea too, but either way, once it's in the container and you can see the color you're going to get from that, it's not going to be that seriously impactful. Maybe I should have went with 3 drops, I don't know. Yeah, you know, I'm just going to test the waters. I'm going to test it. I'm just going to do 1 single drop, and we'll see what that does. One drop. Okay, that definitely made it look a little more on the browner side of things. Again, I'm no expert, and I definitely did not... Okay, well, I'll be honest, the color in the movie, I believe, was a little closer to this than it was to that. So I probably screwed this up pretty hard. Maybe if I made more solution and diluted it by half, which means that most probably the amount you'll need is more going to be like... Oh, actually, that's not a bad color. Okay, well, the amount I used, I probably could have toned it down on the pink just a little bit. Then the last thing it says, you're supposed to mix the two once you've gotten the right colors, and it should be okay. Try to get as much of that mixed together as possible. Now, something that I did notice with the recipe, along with what was even said in the video, is that there's going to be some water residue at the end, and that will need to be drained out later. But we'll see exactly how much water I'm going to need to drain out specifically, but you can already see that is pretty damn slimy. It's already getting stuck to the dang thing. Holy smokes. Alright. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now again, this is not the color I was aiming for, but that's kind of okay because the container itself is already tinted, so it'll give me the color I need regardless, and I don't know, it might enhance it a little bit. Which now reminds me, I need to actually go through the trouble of making this thing a little waterproof just to keep the container inside. And the way they did it was with PVC pipes. You already obviously know I am definitely not using PVC pipes for this. So just seal that up for now in this Nescafe container. Okay, I guess these things aren't exactly the most watertight. If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go wash my hands off a little bit. Okay, I'm back. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Even got on the container. Not a big deal, but just clear that up first. And do I have an extension? I do not. Always want to keep your workstation clean. Usually so that way you can find everything you need, and that way nothing gets too out of hand. Given whatever trim you might be trying to do. Put this recipe here. Maybe it's gonna bother me with this color. I might make some more just to level it up. Damn, that really just got everywhere, didn't it? Yeah, so this is not an airtight container. I recommend if you're gonna use this for water, don't. It's definitely meant for powders, for sure. That is sticky. Okay, I'm gonna go wash my hands again, and I'll be back with an extension cord. Here, let me just tilt this up just a little bit so you can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'll move it here. Yeah, seems like a better idea. Okay. Besides that little mess of mine, let me just do, or yeah, that little accident, I suppose. Next step is going to be sealing this thing up so that way it can actually be filled with the slime given. I'll drain out the water in a sec so that way it can be placed in a little better. It does look like it'll fit the whole container, but it is entirely possible we need to add or make more slime just to fit it. We'll see. So while I wait for that to get hot, gotta plan out exactly how this is gonna get sealed. Seems like there are actually 3 holes on the inside, even though I put some acrylic paint. Yeah, to kind of cover those sections up. So I think I'll probably put some level of it, and then just to make sure that it doesn't look all janky, I'll probably just go like so and make sure that it's nice and smooth on the top. Now, as for all these pieces here, I plan to actually use craft bond to probably stick it together, but I believe that super glue works just as well, though it is a little finicky with plastics. So while I wait for that, might as well just take a look at the bomb that I did, or grenade, whatever you want to call it, ghost grenade. So obviously the whole thing is covered in silver. It looks pretty good, although I did accidentally drop this after I spray painted it, so you can see there's a little bit of scuff marks and damage. But once again, as a Ghostbuster, it's not a big deal if you do scuff marks and damage, because it kind of adds to the home-brewed aesthetic. I will still need to add some more details to really get this thing looking more like some kind of mechanism, something. So once again, I'm thinking I'll probably just take some black electrical tape on this once I have the electronics finished, and then I will take the some pieces of foam, something like this, maybe put like, I mean, it's starting to look like a damn pipe bomb, but I mean, I could put like 2 right here. I could see that actually would be a pretty good look, and I might actually just do that instead. So that'll be for next time, though. Meantime, you know what? Let's take care. Well, no, I can't. So the thing is that since I have only 1 extension cord, there's a heat gun I should be using to seal these before I glue them. That's what you always want to do to make sure that the foam doesn't get anything bad on it, because it kind of keeps it from growing bacteria and such. But then the second reason is because it shrinks the foam just a little bit and keeps its shape to whatever it is that you're trying to put it to. So in this case, if I'm trying to have it stay curved like so, putting that heat gun to it would keep this shape, and it would cause it to not want to escape as easily. Of course, it's probably still going to escape over time, but as long as I have a good glue on it, then it'll hold its place. Okay, let's just check this out real quick. Oh yeah, we got some glue now. Alright, so this will be pretty easy, but it's basically just a quick little pump in there, pump in there, and a pump in there. Looks like I've already stripped some of the silver off, but let's just make sure that doesn't stay too messy. I don't really work with hot glue, if I'm going to be honest. For the most part, whenever I do sticking things together, it's usually super glue, contact cement, and yeah, that craft bond that I've got there. Mostly I stuck with the first 2 that I had mentioned. I don't know, it's just, to me it feels more secure. But I've come around to hot glue a little bit. You can see that some of these areas are a little messed up from that. You know, like it strips some of the paint with the heat. I could probably just cover that up with some of the silver spray paint that I've got, so I'll probably do that later. And of course we want to seal this bad boy right here in the middle. We're good. And then of course level it off a little bit. just to make sure it's nice and smooth, more or less. And just a little cleanup. The whole reason I'm even remotely trying to clean up the outside here is because this section is some area that I want to be visible. So I don't really want it to look too train wrecked. I just want it to be sealed, but not like horrible looking. Although if you really wanted to be extra secure and you didn't care about that aesthetic that's right there on the top part, you could probably just cover this entire thing with hot glue and be done with it. Okay, it's probably only going to take a little bit to dry. Just to cover my bases here, I'm going to seal this section right here. Just actually, I think I'll hold off on that for a second. See, there's a crack here from when I was doing the hammering that, I mean, you can see it's pretty bad. This thing will definitely leak out if I put it on top right now and then fill it up. But in order to make sure it's sealed, this has got to get a bunch of hot glue around it, and then when I place it down, that's when it'll be sealed. But that's going to have to happen afterwards and not right this second. But there is another crack on the top I can see here. I don't know if you can see that from your perspective. There's a small crack right here. I could see that as a potential leak, so I think I'll just cover that area. It looks like it's on the other side right here, so yeah, I'll just put some in the center here. Now the LED I'm probably going to use is going to be one from Dollar Tree. If I don't end up using it for the Canon, which again is another debatable something that I was planning on doing, but the ARM Canon was supposed to have some LEDs in the inside of the barrels just to give it a nice aesthetic look. I'm not sure if I'll have time for that. It would be a snap to add into, but I'm more concerned about making it more secure than actually making it look cool, because I don't want it to just fall apart on accident or hit somebody in the face, or someone's foot more accurately. If you know, if something were to happen. Okay, it's looking pretty good. And this could probably go in here. I think it's more or less dry. Yeah, it's dry. Okay, I think I could just put it at the bottom. Actually, I'm curious to just kind of touch it, just because. I mean, I've seen them work with it a little bit, but I have no idea what it looks like or what it feels like, so this is going to be kind of interesting. Just mix it one more time, make sure everything's good. Gee whiz, that's juicy. Okay. Let me just drain the water. Let's put it in here. That's sticky. Okay, here we go. Oh man, that's an interesting feel. It's like it almost feels like as if it's trying to stick. Like maybe I didn't put enough borax or something. Good golly. Yeah, there it is. Okay, that's interestingly sticky. So make sure that goes into there. It doesn't feel like it's the most uniform, or it doesn't quite feel like, goodness. It doesn't quite feel very, oh, what's the word for it? It's definitely sticky. Like it feels like it's gonna be stuck in certain areas. What's the best way I could describe this? I don't know. It's like an apple pie. like if you have the inside of an apple pie, that sort of deal, and you just kind of feel it in between your fingers, like the stickiness of that. It's got that feeling, but then it's also got the consistency of, man, what is the best way to describe this? It feels like solid Jello. I guess that's a better way to put it. Ugh, luckily, this stuff is apparently non-toxic. Again, containers I was using was for other stuff. Doesn't smell good, if I'm gonna be honest. Actually, it doesn't really smell bad. You know, it's because earlier I was trying to take off the sticker stuff, and I ended up getting my hands covered in vinegar, so it you know, it didn't really. It basically, my hands got covered in vinegar earlier because I was trying to. Oh wow, that's interesting. Hold on, let me say that again. Ah, guess it's pretty bouncy if you ask me. It's actually kind of like kinetic slime now that I'm seeing it. You know, it moves around when you've got some motion to it, where it stays stable and stiff. You could really shape it, but the second it's not, it starts to level itself out. It's actually kind of cool. Again, sadly, wrong color, and as you can see in here, it doesn't exactly look. It looks a lot closer to what it originally was, but hey, it'll do for the night. I could always put a different colored slime or remake this again, because I do have plenty of material to do so, but I think just for the sake of time, I'm just gonna keep on going from here. Looking at this is actually looking pretty good just as is. Nice container slime. It's got some good weight to it. Good golly, I've made a mess. I'm really gonna have to wash my hands after this, I'll tell you that. Let's just put a lid on what's left of the slime. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I don't know, maybe for a later project. I have no idea how long this stuff lasts, which is another problem, but let's not worry about that just yet. Just to make sure that I have plenty of room for the LED. I probably should have kept this plugged in. Good news, the sun actually helps keep things hot. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I'm just finding out. Anyways, looks like I probably shouldn't have put the lid on it, but I believe I can put some hot glue on the inside here. I'll use the top of this just to keep it from melting the table, and I can create a flat top that can be used for the sealed lens of this container. Having silver on the inside of this before I decided to put this sealer into it was probably a good idea, because at the very least, when you actually see this thing shine, it'll probably reflect the light and push it towards the center, which is actually really good, because you want the light to travel through the whole container. And obviously it's going to get stopped at least a little bit by some of these bubbles. Checking the bottom here, it looks like I did seal it pretty good, because there's no leak so far. And given the fact that this doesn't have much liquid to begin with, it's actually a really good thing. I have to admit, that is a really nice color, even though I know it's not movie accurate, but this is pretty good. In all honesty, it kind of reminds me of Austin Powers with the Mojo. I don't know if anybody remembers that too well. But yeah, I'd say it looks pretty close to that. It's just missing a few things, like those weird purple bubbles and such. Okay, I don't know exactly how long it's going to take to properly seal. Yeah, looks like it's going to take some time. Okay, I guess I'll just keep that there for now, and we can move on, or I can move on to the next thing. Let's just let's get it out of the sun. Let's put it in. Okay, Now, just to make sure that we get this thing at least somewhat going a little further, I suppose since I've unplugged this for now, she's gonna bite me in the ass later, I can work on the aesthetic pieces. These are the pieces that I was talking about that I'll be covering up with pieces of foam. Put this container over here. Hopefully the wind doesn't blow it away. So these are the pieces that are going to be these are the pieces that are going to go onto it. Some of the pieces are for aesthetic purposes. I've got an X marked on the ones that I'm probably going to end up using. So, let me say that, Chief. Might use this one. I think that's it. These pieces, like I said, they'll be going on certain parts of the container. I'm just going to heat. I'm just going to heat gun it. You don't really need a high setting, but I've worked with this thing for a long while, so I don't know, putting it on the high setting for me just feels natural. You just need it on a fair setting to get this thing going. If you don't have a heat gun, which I think this one was like, I don't know, $70, maybe there's a $30 one, I don't know, that you could find. I bought it years ago. It's still running just fine, but basically you're just going to cook it till the whole entire thing is shiny, making sure to hit it a couple of times so that way the whole thing starts to feel flexible, kind of malleable. And once you've got the entire thing cooked that way, to the best of your ability, then you're going to take it on whatever container that you're trying to wrap it around, and you can just cover it up like so. Interesting, this is the same radius as the tube. That's actually kind of convenient. Okay. And usually you just kind of keep it there until it cools down. It won't hold it'll only hold its shape if it's like fully dried out temperature wise. But I mean, you should hold it to this position, but if you can't, then I mean, it's not the biggest deal in the world if you can't do that. Because like I said, the glue will hold it in place. It just helps the glue to adhere a little better if you've got it already kind of memory foam, remembering which direction you're supposed to put it in. You don't exactly want to leave this thing on all the time. I'd recommend probably turning it off in between, but just for the sake of speed and not having to turn this thing on and off over and over again, I'm keeping it on. Just try to be safe with it. This is a heat gun after all, and yes, it can start fires. I've done it before. Once. It's funny though, you can actually get it to a certain temperature where it's really hot and could probably burn your hand, but it will not light a match. But you change one single setting and suddenly it just lights the whole thing on fire. And I did that just to see if it could light a match if I wanted to. It's an insane amount of effort to do it, and it's a little ridiculous if you tried to do that, but I just think it's interesting that you can do that if you did want to. Your energy bill is going to be up the roof, but hey, you could light a match with this thing if you wanted. And just hold that there. See, this is already kind of holding its shape a little bit, and that'll be useful when I put the pieces on next. I'll just keep it like so, a little bit. I'm both shaking this to get it to cool down a little faster, but also doing it so that way I can shake this can, because I'm going to need this to glue in a sec. Now, these pieces can stay this color, but of course I'm probably going to change it for the sole purpose of matching the aesthetic of the tube itself. But they can stay black. It's not a bad idea. It just depends on your own personal preference. Huh, looks like heat helps this thing level out for the slime. I know you can't see this, but I left this in the sun and it looks like it melted down pretty quick. That might actually be stuck down there now that I'm seeing it. Golly, I hope it's not stuck. I don't know. And if you ever let these things cool on accident, you can always just heat it back up again. just give it a little light cooking. Once you get that malleable state again, without burning your fingers, of course, you could just put that right back on and go to town. And I think that'll cover it. I think it's got a cool function, so that's going to be going off until it's reached an optimal temperature, so I'll just leave it be for now. Obviously, you're probably supposed to use gloves with this, but for the sake of speed, I'm probably not going to do that. I'll be back in a sec. I'm going to go get a piece of cardboard just to make sure I don't spray anything. Okay, this should do. Of course, you don't want to breathe this stuff in. See, skin irritant, eye irritant, extremely flammable. Well, lucky for me, that thing is off, so we're good. As in, it's not heating up. It's not that it's off. And just to make sure it's all... Wow, that is like gelatin now. Okay. So, places I'm going to be putting this on, probably going to be right here. I feel like it's a nice separation point. I kind of wanted to put one up here, but I felt like two of these kind of wrecked the aesthetic just a little bit, so instead I had actually cut out two sections. It actually looks pretty good just as is, so I might keep it that way. And these are things that you can kind of just make decisions on when you do that, is basically whether or not you want it to have that look or appearance just solely off of how you've been doing it so far, or which sections or portions match up with the other parts. Anyways, just put a little bit, get that nice and covered. Just move over here, and let's make the same line right here. This might be slightly bigger than I was expecting, so just hold it there for a few seconds. It looks like I'm going to have to make a cut. Once again, these are quick fire decisions because this stuff glues fast. And again, if there's a portion or something that doesn't quite look right, you can always cover it up with some paint or something. In this case, I've got it glued on and it looks pretty good. Except for the fact that there is currently, you can see some bits of the glue on other portions that I don't want, even some on the outside right here, accidentally. You could probably put some black acrylic paint on this. It does stick to foam, not exactly in the best finish, but you know, I mean, you could still get a good appearance from it if that's kind of what you're going for, unless you're looking for like stupid realistic or something. Okay, checking back on the lid, which is actually works in tandem with that, but you know what, let's just finish at the bottom here. Just hold it there. I think it says, how many seconds? Allow it to dry for 3 to 5 minutes. Permanent bonds within 15 seconds while it's still tacky. Allow it to set for an hour. Yeah, that'll be fine. Looks like it sticks within 30 seconds or less, almost like super glue. Almost. I'd say this feels a little slower than super glue, but it's only by a little bit. There's this bubble here that's kind of bugging me. There we go. That is so weird. I don't know if you can see this, there's actually a hole in the bubble where I just popped it out. kind of crazy. Alright. That's the next step. Yeah. Alright. Now for the lid. I believe it should be dry. It looks pretty hazy here. Let's see if I can. Yep. Perfect. It's not perfectly flat, but I think that'll do just fine. Now, looking at how deep this is going to go in, this should fit it perfectly. Maybe a little pushback, but I think it'll be okay. Oh yeah, there we go. It's a perfect fit. And the last piece will go like so, just over the top. Looks like it's a little bigger than I was expecting again. So, slight mistake. I'll just give it a slight trim. Probably about the size of one of these of the scissors. Just little fixes here and there. It's looking pretty good so far. I feel like it does need a little more black or something on the top. But again, there's going to be an LED that's going to go up here, at least if I got some time to give it a little something something. Plus, I need some way to hang this thing on my belt loop, and I'm thinking it'll kind of hold out kind of like a lantern. So that little piece that I got from the rotary tool, I think I'll probably incorporate into this. Okay, so that will fit a little loose, so maybe just a slight bit trim. Of course, you probably want to reseal in that section if you're doing something like this, but I think I'll skip out on that part because like I said, I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible. First things first is I'm going to want to seal this real quick. No excess slime. Don't forget the cooldown for now. Once again, something bit me in the ass. And it looks like it's that the hot glue is going to take a second to get here. I suppose while I'm waiting for that, can add a little more to the aesthetic. So let me just measure it out here real quick. This thing wasn't on straight to begin with, but I'm going to try my best to make it look a little straighter. That way it's not so crooked. So I'll do it like this. And the size of the foam that I'm using, I believe, is like 1/8 inch or so. Alright, let me see. Well, this one's like... Okay, I don't know how thin this is. This looks like, I don't know, like a couple millimeters or something. Just check. Yeah, this one's like 1/16. This one's like... yeah, 1/8 of an inch. So the size for these pieces that I've got going right here is literally 1/8 of an inch. I probably should have glued these two lines in the same spot, but again, I'm just trying to go for speed, not really for... It's gonna bug me, isn't it? It's probably gonna bug me. You know what? It is going to bug me. Luckily, this stuff looks like it's not too easy to break off, so... yeah, so I'm going to try to keep it to the same line that I had before. This is probably not something you want to do. You want to figure this stuff out ahead of time and try not to make mistakes, but hey, I never said I was perfect. I'm always making some mistake at some point or another. It's the human thing to do. You know, actually, another thing I might do is I might print out a sticker, because I have some sticker paper, and I might put like mood slime or caution mood slime, and maybe has some slight warning on it. I can come up with that up pretty quick. There's some free fonts and such that can be used to make something like this, so really honestly wouldn't take much. I am loving the color, even though it's not the right color. This is actually looking really cool. Okay. It's looking pretty good. And once again, I've got another bubble. Just bubble that out a little bit. Okay. This should be hot enough by now. It is. Let's put it a little bit. I'm going to use the top part right here to kind of give it a quick little seal. It's just along the edge, not necessarily on the top. Mainly because there's already pieces that kind of are covering those sections or whatever, so it's not gonna work nicely. And then very quickly, just press it down. I can probably trim off all these parts that are hot glue in these sections, so it probably won't be a big deal as soon as it dries, at least. Just press that down and just leave it be for a bit. And I know I didn't get this on perfectly straight, but that's not bad. Let's see what happens if I pull it off real quick and it's still not dry. That doesn't look too bad. Yeah. So when it's somewhat dried, you can kind of just peel off all those little excess bits got stuck on the outside, just so that way it doesn't ruin the aesthetic. It does appear that the hot glue itself kind of ruined some of the finish on some of the areas that were spray painted, so again, this will be something to touch up a little later when I get inside, or when you get a chance to do so, so that way everything kind of matches up and it doesn't all look terrible. Try to be careful of trying to take off some of it, because you can actually take off some of the foam on accident, so I'll be careful about that. And it does look like I did screw up the angle of this just a little bit, because you can see that's not perfectly straight on, but it's okay. Aesthetic wise, it'll look okay. It should be able to hold. Oh no, it won't. Okay, well, looks like I need to get more hot glue then. Give me a sec. Okay. Well, that kind of got it a little screwed up. I'm willing to bet the reason why is probably because this is not really... there's not really any sanding done on this, so this is all smooth, so it's having a little bit of a hard time staying gripped up. It also probably doesn't help with the crack, but I think maybe if I make a little scratch. Actually, no, they're directly across from the crack. I could probably get that straight on, more or less. Sometimes the mistakes you make actually give you a chance to fix it. So I'm going to try my best to fix it. Instead of putting it here, I think I'm going to try on the inside of this, and hopefully that works. Alright, I'll leave that to dry for now, or cool off. It looks like it actually didn't come out as messy, which does concern me a little bit, because it makes me wonder if it even stuck to the sides of it. I do see a little leakage, which is a slightly good sign, but we'll see. Either way though, just as is, this right here is a pretty good vial of mood slime, so I'm not too disappointed in the way this came out. I think I just burned my hand a little bit. Let's just keep that unplugged into this. This really does feel... Oh, there it goes. Interesting, to say the least. I'd probably suggest, if you are making some mood slime and it's supposed to be close to the movie, maybe do like 3 drops of red food coloring, or start with 2, and then just see how it looks. Mix it again. You know, I'm willing to bet though it's probably somewhere around 2. This stuff does look pretty good though if you're trying to do some kind of slime for something. I don't really know exactly what you'd be doing with it, but yeah. If we're talking about, just as a real quick note, if you are trying to seal up these gaps, one way to do it that I've used in the past, and one that I was taught to by a YouTube video in talking about a Red Hood airsoft helmet build. He recommended using Quikrete to cover up these gaps, and then using like a flat something to cover it up, and then you just paint the whole thing afterwards with like rubber spray paint. Obviously you wouldn't use rubber spray paint, you'd probably use acrylic paint, and maybe I'll do that real quick because it only takes like 24 hours to dry, and I think I still have some left over. But you cover those sections up and then paint over it, and you'd actually get a relatively smooth gap. I only say relatively because if you do one layer, it'll kind of cover it, but you'll still see like a dip. If you keep adding and adding and adding, eventually it'll look pretty close to what you want. So I'll just feel this out real quick. Yeah, it's pretty secure on. I don't want to really test the waters with it just yet, but this feels like it's a lot more stuck than the previous one, which means that I probably could actually hang it on my belt loop from here instead. So that actually is pretty good. I think the way I'll get it to hold on is I'll probably put 2 holes right here, and then I'll put a wire through it. I'll put some hot glue around it just to make sure, and that'll be kind of like the clip. Let me just double check real quick with this. That is also another option. Nah, you know, it's fine like this. It's a pretty good vial. I'd say it's solid enough to go on a belt loop, you know. Something along the lines of this. This will probably, yeah, this will probably feel just about right. Something like that. You just kind of have it. Overall, pretty good. Size-wise, what this came out to in the end after all the rotary tool cutting and such is somewhere around, this thing's about 9 inches by 2.5, yeah, about 2.5 inches in a diameter. And I'm talking about with the foam, not with the plastic. So yeah, this seems like a pretty good size. Later, again, I'll probably show a little bit on how to do it, but what I'm planning on doing is adding like an LED right here, and that'll just shine light on the inside, so that way you kind of get a bit of a glow. For now, I'm just going to put this inside just to keep it safe, and I'll probably touch up these areas a little later. That way the whole thing is able to look all uniform and not so wrecked. This crack is a little concerning, but honestly, I could just call it creative aesthetic. I don't know. The LED I'd be using would be the one inside here. This thing is charged by 3 AAA batteries. You can get these at Dollar Tree for, I mean, literally $1.25. And technically, I think you can find a 3-pack of these somewhere for $1.25. Might be there, I can't remember, but I remember finding one once. But it's pretty damn bright, just as is. So the idea is that I'll just be taking this whole thing apart. Let me see. I had it popped apart when I took out a battery. They're pretty easy to break down, but let me just remove the batteries real quick. Yeah, there we go. You see, LED's pretty small. Yeah, so technically speaking, all I need is this section right here. And I could just put that there. The button could even go on the top. And then, hell, actually, I could just put it like this. And then I just put a piece of foam around the top of it. And that'll keep the aesthetic really nice and all together. And it's doing things like this that you can kind of slowly but surely pick out what you want to do or how you want to fix it up. I may drill a hole in the top of this. I know that sounds a little weird to do with hot glue, and it probably will stick to the drill, but I think I'll probably do that so that way the light travels a little better, because I did test it out inside just a few minutes ago, and light only travels like up to here. Then it kind of just dies out and you don't really see anything. If I made another hole at the bottom of this, it might have worked out a little better, but Uh, like I said, these are things I'd have to put time in for, and I don't know if I have that time, so I think this will just be fine as is. The LED at the top will do the job, and I'll have this hopefully finished up, yeah, probably tomorrow. I don't know if I'll show footage of me fixing this section up, but the whole idea is, if you can already see what I'm picturing here, would basically be to just put this on top, wrap another piece of foam just to cover up these wires and such, and then to drill, probably to drill 2 holes onto the top of this, just so that way it looks, what's the word for it? Probably to drill 2 holes on the top, just so that way it has some place to hang, and then to put that piece of wire that I was talking about on the top of it, so that way it holds it in place. Now the wire might go like this, the wire might go like this, I'm not too sure yet. I'm gonna have to make those decisions once I cross that bridge. Maybe I'll even go as far as to try and condense these batteries a little bit better. I'm not sure if there's a way to do that, so maybe I won't, but we'll see. These are things that you kind of just have to do some slight guesswork on and make it up as you go along, and you eventually just kind of figure it out. But, yeah. Other than that, I'll just try to see if I can fix this up a little more. In the next couple of minutes, I'll see. Maybe I can show a little footage of what I'm thinking for that. I don't have the electronics finished up just yet, so that's something I'm going to have to figure out. I'm not even sure if the LEDs will be able to fit into it, but like I said, all stuff that I got to figure out, maybe off camera a little bit, maybe not, but we'll see. For now, I'm going to clean all this up. I'm going to probably work on this inside, add some LEDs into it. Like I had said, I'll maybe add some pieces of foam, just measure out a couple of pieces. And hopefully get roughly the same size, like pieces, because I do kind of want this to match up a little bit with this. So if that's the case, then this is going to be 1 inch right here, as you can see there. And then these pieces are like 1/2 inch. I'm thinking more of a 1/2 inch for this thing since it's a lot smaller. So that's probably going to be more ideal. And any other pieces that I'm going to be adding to it, I'll demonstrate or show, or I'll piece it together tomorrow. These things will probably be good to go by tomorrow. And the last thing to work on will be the arm cannon, which you guys will finally get to see what that looks like along with the backpack. All right, well, wish me luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, I guess.